Hey, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas, David Riggleman. On this show, we're excited to introduce to you to our brand new City Councilman for Ward 1. It's Mr. Brian Knudsen. Brian, welcome to the show and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a treat to be here with you and on this set. I've spent so many years here at the city, and I'm grateful to be here, so thank you.
Brian, I should call you councilman. We worked together for so many years. You were a city employee for a number of years, worked on a lot of major projects, went on to other things, and kind of come full circle being elected to the city council. So it's like you're part of the family back in the fold again.
It definitely feels like coming home, and I'm still Brian, and I prefer Brian actually. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
It'll be an adjustment because we all know you so well. But you know Ward 1 very well already. For those out there that may not know exactly which part of town we're talking about, we're going to show you. It's right there on the map with the big 1 on it, appropriately enough. It's basically the area sort of west of the downtown, running along the south side of 95, and then as it makes the turn to the north there, running along the west. You got a little finger that runs clear up to Cheyenne. But that is your ward, and now you are the councilman who represents that area.
That's it, and I'm very grateful for the people that helped me get there. It took a team and obviously the voters. But I've been living in that ward for 10 years in McNeil Estates, right off of Rancho in Charleston, and so I've watched some really amazing things happen under Councilwoman Tarkanian, who I'm grateful for, and the rest of the City Council. And now I feel it's my turn to step up and do my part to make our community a little better.
Yeah, I'm sure that you will. You threw yourself into your job when you worked here before, and I don't think you'll do anything less as a city councilman. I'm sure you'll do even more. You posted this on Twitter. I loved it. You said, "So incredibly honored to be sworn into the Las Vegas City Council. I love this town, and I know our best days are ahead of us. Onward." And then this is the day you were sworn in, July 3rd. It was a big day because 2 of your fellow council members, Victoria Seaman and Olivia Diaz, were also sworn in that day. But you were up first, being in Ward 1, and so here's the mayor, and you got your daughter with you, and this was a special day all the way around.
I can tell you one of the things that I was most nervous about that day is that my 3.5-year-old son, Andrew, was either going to burn the city hall down or at least run away. And so I had a talk with everybody on city staff. Everyone had to be responsible for Andrew just for that short 15 minutes because he has a lot of personality.
He was a prince that day. He was a good kid.
And he's one of the reasons why I'm running, is I wanted to make sure that I can set a good example for him and for Kate, my daughter, who's now 1.5. It was important to me to set an example of what community service looks like. For those who saw me on the campaign trail, I knocked on lots of doors. What I talked about was some pretty serious health issues that my son had. We spent many nights at UMC in the ICU there with my son. And it became very, very apparent to me that the physicians, who are wonderful, the nurses, who are amazing, they need more resources. And more resources means the development of the medical district. Councilwoman Tarkanian and the City of Las Vegas has put a lot of effort into building up the medical district. And I think my personal passion is going to be really focusing on working with the county commission and the state on the development of a children's hospital, but the overall development of the medical district, so that folks in our community, not only in Ward 1 or the City of Las Vegas, but the county and the state, look at Las Vegas and the medical district as the premier place to go for health care. Yeah. We deserve that in our community, and that's what I'm going to work towards.
I think that's such a great point. For so long, I've lived here many, many years, and it seemed like if people really needed serious medical attention, they would go somewhere else. But I think the idea now is that we want to have that high level of academic medicine. Right here we've got the Lou Ruvo Brain Institute there with a new medical school UNLV is building. We're really bringing the medical picture here in Las Vegas to a whole new level. It was always been very good, but now we're really going to add those specialty areas that can make a huge difference to our community. And like you say, we deserve it. We're a big city now. We should have those things.
We are a very big city. In the School of Medicine, the viewers need to understand how important that is for our entire community and Ward 1 in the medical district. I'm lucky enough to sit on the admissions committee for the School of Medicine, and so talking to a lot of those incoming students and soon to be graduating doctors, really working hard to understand what they need in order to build a successful life here in Las Vegas so that they can set up a practice and be experienced, knowledgeable physicians serving our community. I feel it's my responsibility now to make sure that we're a welcoming environment for them to be successful.
It's exciting because, of course, the medical district is all in Ward 1, and it's going to be the focal point of seeing that come to fruition. Real briefly, tell everyone else, what else would you like to see accomplished in your time as city councilman? What would you love to see accomplished? You talked about the medical district. What are some of the other things you really want to see happen?
You know, walking through so many neighborhoods, there's some amazing historic neighborhoods in Ward 1 that deserve to be protected and preserved because they're the longest standing neighborhoods really within this entire valley. But really within a mile or two away, there's some neighborhoods that I think deserve quite a bit more attention. Working with the city staff, code enforcement, working with our city staff on building up neighborhood associations. Mm-hmm. We're not an HOA community like some of the other wards in the community. We're neighborhood associations, which means that I'm going to be asking for neighbors to walk outside their front yard, knock on their neighbor's door, and start setting up times for them to get together and enjoy being in neighborhoods. So I'm very excited about the opportunity to work with neighborhoods and make sure that they know what resources they have in the city and that I'm there to help bring them together.
Very good. I know one of the things you want to do as well is establish a good relationship, working relationship with your counterparts on other entities like the county commission, cities of North Las Vegas, Henderson, so on and so forth, especially the county, because so much of what we do overlaps, and people, as you said, sometimes aren't sure where they live. Am I in the city or am I in the county? Yeah. My address is Las Vegas, so I must be in one or the other, right? But I think you would like to see us have a stronger relationship with our counterparts in the other jurisdictions.
Yeah, David, I think it'll be really helpful and really important as our community is facing some of these very intractable problems like homelessness. Mm-hmm. It comes up in every conversation I have. I think it's really important that as elected officials we're working together, we trust each other, and we're working towards common goals, setting forth policy and working with our respective staffs in the city and the county to make sure that our environment within the valley is acceptable for the residents who live here, and it's appropriate in dealing with some of the challenges that our homeless folks face.
You bring up, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That requires building trust and relationships, and so one of the things I'm most excited about is really spending a lot of time working with each of the county commissioners, working with our colleagues in North Las Vegas, and even reaching out and talking and working with representatives of the state at the staff level and at the elected official level. I feel comfortable and confident in my ability to kind of navigate between politics and what's happening with the staff at every jurisdiction now.
So many of the issues that we face as a community are too big for one entity to tackle alone. Homelessness is a perfect example. There are others. Transportation, so many things need to be handled more at a regional level with more of a global look at the picture. And I think that's one of the things you're saying here is that we've got to work together to get to that level as opposed to just worrying about our own little piece of it.
That's right, and along my path to get here, what I learned is we are a very big city, but we still operate like this old west small town. And in an old west small town, it's relationships that really matter. Right. And so one of my focal points, one of my key assets is building and strengthening relationships. Not only my relationships, but hopefully the relationships between the city and county staff and elected officials. It's very important to me that residents don't have to know that they live in Ward 1 or Ward 2 or the city or the county.
The problems get taken care of, yeah.
That if they need something, they can call and somebody's going to respond. Yeah. And that's most important to me right now.
That's a perfect segue into our next segment that's coming up here, because we need to take a short break. But when we come back, you'll meet one of the recently elected county commissioners, Justin Jones. Just like Brian's saying, he's going to work with Justin and the other county commissioners to get things done here. So that's coming up. Please stay with us.
Here in parking enforcement, we often hear, but I didn't know it was a violation. So we like to clear some of the confusion over the most misunderstood regulations. Vacant lots, public right-of-ways, parking lots, and city garages are not free and open sales lots for you to unload your vehicle. Furthermore, if you're selling your car or truck to a private party, a bill of sale is required for proof of exchange. If you do try to sell in one of these areas, you're subject to a ticket and a fine. So now you know. For more information, call 702-229-4700.
Welcome back, everyone. Recent elections in the city and county resulted in 3 new city council members here at the city, and in the county, 3 new county commissioners. One of those new commissioners, Justin Jones, is here with us today. Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us. You're not that new. You were elected last fall, so you got a little
Still feels pretty new.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. I hear elected officials say, being new, it's like you're trying to drink from a fire hose because of all the information that flies at you. But welcome to the show. It's great to have you over here. I know Councilman Knudsen, one of the things he wants to do is really form some strong bonds between the City Council and the County Commission. So talk a little bit more about that and how you guys are already obviously working together.
And one of the things that I would mention, and I think Commissioner Jones will agree, is on the campaign trail it's very political, but once you get into the job, government, especially local government, isn't about Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative, it's about policy.
And getting the job done, yeah, exactly.
It's about making
right.
good decisions, and I found, and I don't know if Commissioner can comment on that, but our residents don't know the difference between city or county, at least a lot of them don't, and they don't need to care. What they need to do is understand that if they need something, that somebody's going to be there to answer the phone, and that's why I think a partnership between the city and county is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree 100%. When my constituents call, they don't call for the Democrat or the Republican to fix their road or to make sure that those short-term rentals aren't going forward. They just want it done, right? And so we have to just work together to make that happen as quick as possible. A lot of my district is in just unincorporated county, but I do share
Got a little bit of Ward 1, right? Exactly.
So share some of the area with Councilman Knudsen and a couple other council folks. And like Brian said, it's been something that he and I and others have talked about for a while now, that there really needs to be more coordination and working together between the city and the county. We have some of that coordination on some of the regional boards like the LBCVA and the RTC, but there's a whole lot of issues like homelessness where there just isn't that same type of coordination.
It's too big that it needs a lot of resource from the different entities to come to bear on. It's just such a big issue. What other issues do you guys see some common ground like that where the city and county can really make some headway?
Well, I will say, I think that there's opportunity for information sharing and just looking at what the other is doing on certain issues. I will say, one thing that's really important to me is sustainability. The city of Las Vegas has been a national leader on sustainability. I think the county could learn some lessons there. I'm a cyclist. I think the city of Las Vegas has been, again, a leader on bike lanes, particularly here in downtown. I think the county could learn a lot from that. And I'm sure there's things at the city that they could learn from the county, and I think there just needs to be more of that day-to-day interaction so that we can have that sharing.
You know, David, one of the things that I learned as I talk about the development of the medical district, when you're talking to developers and you're talking to healthcare professionals, is everybody has an opinion on that side of working with the city or the county. Sometimes they like the city, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they like the county, sometimes they don't. I think there's great opportunity at the policy level to talk about how we can share best practices. If there are developers that like something at the county, can the city learn from that? If there's, and vice versa. And I think at a policy level, we should set the tone for the rest of the organization to say, let's take the best of the best and let's go forward with that.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I think sometimes I hear in the community people express frustration about how the rules are different from entity to entity, and they're doing business all across the valley. But in the city, it's one way. In North Las Vegas, it's one way. In the county, it's one way. In Henderson, it's yet different again. And that can be very frustrating. You got a business that you're just trying to get done. It's like, well, the rules are different everywhere. And I know that maybe there's some opportunity to, how do we make this more uniform, make it easy for people out there that are just trying to conduct business?
Absolutely. I know one of the things that we're looking at over at the county right now is making some changes to our development code. It hasn't been updated in a couple of decades. And I think what we're going to look at is the city has done some changes recently. The city of Henderson has made some changes recently. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Let's look at the best practices, what's working in other jurisdictions, and learn from each other.
Yeah, very good, very good. Commissioner, we asked Councilman Knudsen why he ran for office. How about you? You're a newcomer to politics, to being an elected official. What was the spark that got you to make that leap?
Well, I served in the state senate for a short period of time before and enjoyed that experience, but I really felt like where it was at local government. I heard Brian talk about that he was doing it because of his daughter Kate, and that's what it is for me. I have 2 kids. Our kids actually hung out the other day, and that's what it's really about. We want to make sure together that we have the community that they will want to live in for years to come.
That's great motivation. As a parent, I can tell you, you'll do anything for your kids, and so that's great to hear. as far as being newly elected, I know sometimes, maybe share this experience, sometimes when people run for office, I think they feel like the campaign is the hard part, but are you finding that maybe actually serving in the job is actually the harder aspect?
For me, I feel like I have a leg up because I did spend time at the city, and coming back to the city, a lot of the staff are the same. The institution is very much similar. So coming back to the city is really like riding a bike. I haven't forgotten it. Campaigning was a bit challenging, and it really is just taking in so much information about what people expect and want from their elected officials. And that's my challenge going forward, is taking what I know about the city, what I know about the county, and really work towards making sure that our voters, our residents, have what they need to have a high quality of life.
I want to ask you both, in the past the county and the city have tried to work together on issues, and sometimes we've fallen short. Do you think that we'll make some better progress this time around? What's your hope?
I think so. I think obviously there's new blood in the county, there's new blood at the city, and I know for a fact that Mayor Goodman and our chair, Marilyn Kirkpatrick, have had some very productive meetings lately.
Sure have, yeah.
And so I really see that this is the perfect time for us all to work together and make some real change for the good.
Yeah, well said.
And David, I mentioned to you during the break that it's not just Commissioner Jones that I want to spend time with. I'll be inviting all the commissioners to spend as much time with me as I can, as they're available, and then doing the same thing with them, because I think jointly there's so much that we have to work on. Our community, as it's growing by another 500,000 people over the next 10 years, is going to require some pretty significant collaborations, coordinations, and joint policy making. And so that's what I'm very excited about, and that's what I talked about on the campaign, but that's what's really going to drive me over the next 4 to 5 years here in the City Council, is building those bridges and relationships and working with the city and county and the other jurisdictions to make this a better community.
Commissioner, let me ask you, what are some of the things that you'd really love to see accomplished in your district in your time in office?
Well, in my district, I have some of the older areas that overlap with Councilman Knudsen, but I have a lot of the growth areas. So I have the largest by population district in Clark County. We have some of the hottest growing communities in all of Southern Nevada, but also in all of the country. And we want to make sure that development is done the right way. So we're working very closely with developers, with our county planning team, to make sure that we do it the right way. Nothing's more frustrating than living somewhere but not being able to get there.
Right.
I live in Mountain's Edge. I'm as far out as you can get. And I've been out there for many years, and it's only now that finally the development is catching up to what was originally planned for out there.
It's exciting stuff. Well, it's great to have you on. Brian, anything else you want to add before we have to say goodbye here too?
It's such an interesting dynamic, because the new growth in our community is so different than the infill development, which is Ward 1.
Which is city, yeah. The city is mostly infill. You're expanding out, yeah, in the district you represent. So, well, Commissioner, great to have you on the show. Brian, anything else you want to add before we say goodbye to him here?
I'm grateful for the Commissioner to take his time to be here with us this morning, and grateful for the opportunity to chat about the future of the city and county working together.
Got a hunch we'll probably have you back. That'd be a good thing.
Well, I'm looking forward to inviting Councilman Knudsen to come on our TV show
good.
on Channel 4.
Sounds good. Sounds good. They'll take care of you over there. I know that's for sure. So, well, great job, Commissioner. Thank you so much for being on the program. Coming up next, we're going to take another short break, but we're going to introduce you to Councilman Knudsen's staff and let you know what they have planned for the future of Ward 1. That's next, so please stay with us.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back, everyone. Ward 1 is a busy area with a lot going on. Today, we have with us members of the Ward 1 staff, Kimberly Reed and Dorian Stonebarger. Thanks so much for being here. This is exciting. You've got a great team already. I know, and I think it's so great that you guys are willing to come on the show, because now people out there can put a name with a face if they contact the office. And you two are raring to go to help the community. So, Brian, Kim is a veteran here. She's been with the city for a number of years. Brilliant to keep her on, because she knows the ward as well as anybody out there.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that Kim decided to stay with me. I worked with Kim when I was at the city for many, many years, and she's knowledgeable about the city, she's knowledgeable about the ward, and so I'm incredibly grateful that she's sticking with me. And what the commitment I made is that I would surround myself with the smartest and brightest people. Kim knows the city like the back of her hand, and frankly, I had people calling me, telling me that Kim has to stay with the city if we're ever going to support you. And so Kim is part of the team, and I'm very grateful for that.
You know, Kim, I'm going to brag on you here a little bit. You had an opportunity. You could have gone to multiple places within the city. Folks in planning wanted you. The city attorney's office wanted you. Everybody wanted to hire you. And you ended up staying in Ward 1. Why so? Why? What was that? Is that your passion still? Is to because you've been so connected with it all these years?
I really, really love my job. I love all of the things that we do. Every day is different, and we have an ability to affect people's lives in maybe small, little mundane ways, but it really has a big impact on their lives. And so I really enjoy doing that. Brian has already been my boss once, so I'm very familiar with him. Sometimes working for elected officials has the drawback that you only have a job as long as your council person is in office. And so that was maybe a reason why I thought maybe I would go to a different department where I wasn't had a job at the whim of elections. But in the end, I just couldn't leave Ward 1. I do love it. I love what I do. So in the end, I stayed. And I'm glad. I think it's going to work out well. I think we have a great team.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge asset to the councilman. You already know what's going on in the ward. You hear the issues all the time. And Kim, I got to tell you too, when people have interactions with you, my feedback is always in the community that, oh, I talked to Kimberly Reed and she took care of it for me. She knew what to do, and so that's a real compliment, because generally we don't hear the good things. We hear when people are not very happy. So. And then that brings us to Dorian Stonebarger. Glad to have you on board. Now, a newcomer to city government, but not a newcomer to the community as far as, especially in the nonprofit world. I know this is one of the reasons you're just so thrilled to have her on board.
Yeah, for Dorian, I met Dorian probably 7 or 8 years ago. I was working with 3 Square Food Bank, which is a wonderful, amazing nonprofit in our town that makes sure thousands of people are served food. And I was working with Dorian, and I mentioned to her team that at some point I would try to steal her away. And so I was grateful. This gave me the opportunity to steal away, and so I'm very grateful. And Dorian, who's volunteering her time, getting acquainted with the city, will come on board fully next week, and I can't wait, because I think she'll be an excellent addition to the city.
I think so too. Dorian, why did you want to join the city team? You've got so much going on, so many things in the community. Why did you want to join the team?
You know, one, I really trust Brian, and I've seen what he's already been able to accomplish with the city and in our valley, and I was excited to take what I've learned, my experience with navigating both federal and state and local policies, as well as bringing government, nonprofits, and business leaders together to help work around an issue, and I'm excited to bring that to a whole new level with the city.
Well, the description people have of you in the community is that she's fantastic and very professional. She's going to get the job done. So that's high praise.
Well, I appreciate whoever said that about me. And I too am very excited that Kim is staying. She's been wonderful helping navigate through everything as I come on board. So.
For folks out there, if Dorian's last name sounds familiar, Stonebarger, her husband is Derek Stonebarger, one of the mainstays over in the whole renaissance of downtown, especially that whole Main Street corridor. He owns Rebar, other great businesses that have just helped our downtown go from where it was into, it's cool to be in the downtown now, and it wasn't so cool. People like your husband and you helped turn all that around.
We both really love this city, and so we'd love to put our efforts back into what we care about so much.
That's awesome. Great to have you on board. So what do you guys all collectively hope to really get done here in the short term? What are you working on right away?
So one other person that I want to mention is our former planning commissioner for Ward 1, Vicki Quinn. She's also helping us get acquainted. Myself and Dorian need to spend quite a bit of time learning about the code enforcement issues, the planning and land use issues, And so I'm grateful that Commissioner Quinn is helping us transition over the next several weeks. And so what I committed to on the campaign is that I would surround myself with really great people, and I feel I've done that with the team on stage and off stage.
A great mention. Commissioner Quinn, Vicki Quinn, had been on the Planning Commission for a number of years, really knew the issues, not just in Ward 1, but across the city, as they heard all those planning and zoning items, development items that would come before the come before the Planning Commission, then be forwarded on to the City Council. So,
and that's,
again,
that's
smart.
an important part in answering your question, because the next step, over the next 30 to 90 days, I think Dorian and I, we need to gear up to know as much as Kimberly does about the ward. And so working with Commissioner Quinn on kind of driving the ward, making sure making sure we know where the hot spots are from a code enforcement perspective, but also spending a lot of time on the development side, understanding what it'll take to redevelop and infill some of that dilapidated parts of our community. One of the things I'm really excited about working on is some of these empty box stores that are pervasive within Ward 1 and throughout our valley. The invent of Amazon has really changed how we look at shopping. And so Ward 1 has been hit pretty hard with empty box stores, empty parking lots. And so working with the team, I think that's one of the areas that I want to spend a lot of time on to make sure that the amenities in Ward 1 meet the needs of our residents.
Yeah, good point all the way around. Kim, give people the inside track, because sometimes they think dealing with the city, it's just City Hall and it's just these nameless, faceless folks in there and you can't get through to anybody. But that's not the case. This is a very accessible place. If you have an issue, if you are a Ward 1 resident, starting with the Ward 1 office is a great place to begin, right?
It's true. We are very responsive. I think sometimes folks who are not familiar with the system, not familiar with the way things work, that's where a lot of frustration comes from, and that's where people maybe tend to get a little upset. When they contact with us, we're able to walk them through, we're able to show them how it works, how to get things done in an easier manner to somebody who's never done
it's navigate
before.
who does what.
Correct.
And, is that this or that department, but you help everybody get that figured out.
Information's the key for everything, and so that makes everything run a lot more smoothly.
Dorian, welcome.
Thank you.
There's no such thing as a dumb question here, so I think you're already going to be a huge asset. But as you come on board here at the city, is there anything you'd like to make sure that the viewers understand about doing business with you in Ward 1?
Well, as Kim just mentioned, everyone has been so welcoming and so delightful to work with that I would hope that everyone in Ward 1 knows that everything is approachable and there are no stupid questions, so call and ask.
That's right, that's really good. Well, I think Ward 1 is already in good hands, Brian, so congratulations. You got that good team around you, which you said you were going to do, and here they are. So.
And I appreciate that. The doors are open, and so we're ready for business, and I would welcome any of the Ward 1 residents or business owners to feel free to call or email, and we're going to stand out there ready to make this a better community.
And that is perfect segue into what I'm going to say next. So, folks, we always want to hear from you. So if you have something you'd like to share with Councilman Knudsen and his staff, you can always find him on Facebook and Twitter. And if you leave a comment, we could use one of your posts on our next show. You can also contact the councilman or Kim or Dorian just by picking up the phone, 702-229-6405, or send them an email. The address is bknudsen, that's with an E, at lasvegasnevada.gov. And they will get back to you if history stays the same. Kim is on top, and I know you would too, Dorian. So that's good.
And me.
And
I
you
can
too.
be on top of things too. I have a role to play here, David.
I forgot that. That's right.
Yes.
I know, but
there's a lot to be done.
That's a good point. You just can't be everywhere, so they help. And that's the main point. Well, great job. It's wonderful to have you all on the show, and best of luck to you. Congratulations. This is your first show. One of many to go. So.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks so much. And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Don't miss our next show beginning on July 25th with newly sworn in Ward 3 City Councilwoman Olivia Diaz. You can catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire now. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. We'll see you next time around, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us.